I will first select this whole list, and then here in Properties pane we can see that we have all of these properties inside of Positioning section. But if I select only one cell, in that case we will only have Size and Overflow, so I will always keep my whole list selected. And we will now look at this first property, and that is already dimensioned Size and Overflow. I will click here, and I will change the size of my list to 500 times 500 pixels. I will click on OK, and we can see how the size of our list is changed. Instead of using just pixels, we can also use millimeters. So we can say 100 times 100 millimeters. And here below in this dialog we have all of these options, but we cannot use them now. So I will just delete everything from this dialog, and I will go actually to page 2. Here we have one block. So this is one block. We can see here that this is a block element, and inside of that block we have a list. And now we will use our property Size and Overflow. We will select this block. We will go to Size and Overflow. We will click here, and we can now notice that we can see all and use all of our options inside of this dialog. We will now change our height to, let's say, 150 pixels. This option content is not clipped will be selected. So when we click on OK, nothing will change. Nothing will change because the height of this block cannot be smaller than the height of this list. Because this first option, content is not clipped, is selected. But if we select this second option, content is clipped, and if we click on OK, in that case we will be only able to see first rows. There is no way now to see the rows that are below. But we can change this. If we go again to our dialog and we use this option, use scroll bars only when necessary, and we click on OK, in that case we will have this scroll bar that will allow us to see all the rows in our list. Now I will change the height of this block to, let's say, 800 pixels. So when I click on OK, we will notice that now we don't have those scroll bars, but if we select that last option, always use scroll bars, and if we click on OK, in that case we will see our scroll bars, although we don't need them now because height of a block is bigger than height of our list. We will now go back to that page 1. Before going to the next property, I want to remind you of something. If we go to Toolbox and we use another list, we add it here, Cognos will create a new table in the background. So when I click on OK, we will have two lists and table in the background. If we go here and we select that table, we can see its positions. Now, in order to show you this floating property, I would have actually to disable such behavior. So I will go to Undo, and then I will go here to three dots, Options, Report tab, and I will click here to disable guided report layout. I will click on OK, and let's see what is now behavior of Cognos. If I add this list here to the right side, I will get this black blinking line. So when I release, my new list will appear below. So now the rule is that all the elements are positioned from the top to the bottom, but we can control that. For example, if we select this upper list, we can go now to floating, and we can select this option here. This option allows for objects to be on the right side of this selected, currently selected list. So I will select this option, I will click on Apply, and our empty list will now be on the right side. And then we can also change their positions if we select this. So our empty list will actually be then on the left side. Let's see that. If I select this option and if I click on Apply, they will change their positions. Now I will leave this second option enabled. I will click on OK, and now we will select this second list, this empty list. I will click here, and then here in this menu I will select the whole list. We will now see its properties. We'll go here to floating. I will click on these three dots, and now we will choose this option, move below any floating object on the left side. When I click this and I click on Apply, our empty list will not listen to comments from this first list, but it will jump to below because we have this setting set for this empty list. And we can also use this third option, but we have to reverse positions of our lists. Let's do that. We will reverse everything to as it was, and then we will select this first list, we will go to floating, and then we will select this third option to reverse their positions. So when I click on OK, now empty list be on the left side. Now we can again select this left list, we will go to floating, and we can now select this third option because our first list is now on the right side. So we can click here. If we click on apply, it will just jump to below, but it won't be on the right side. We can then click this option for this empty list, and if we click now on apply, now it will be below. And we have this last option that is actually a union of second and third options. I will now set everything back to as it was. All the options will go back, and I will actually delete this second list. Next property is visibility property. I will select this list, and then I will go here to below to visible property, and here we only have one important option, and that is no. So when I click on no, our list will become invisible. But if we click, for example, here in this body, now we cannot select our list. We cannot change that property. We can do undo, but let's say that we don't want to do undo. So what to do in this situation? Well, we will go here to this menu, page preview, and we will select page structure. And here we can see that we have our list. So we can select it. We can change that visible property to default, and then we can go back to page preview. And again, we will see our list. Our last property would be this property here, table properties. We will open a new dialog. We will disable this option, and we will enter here some value, let's say 20 pixels. So when I click on apply, we would get a padding between all the cells and borders of our list, and that is the whole effect. But we have here some more options. For example, this option here is either not working, or I don't know how to make it work, so I will just skip it. And the last option is this option fixed size. Now, before using this option, I will close this dialog, and I will change the width of my list to something real narrow, for example 40 pixels, and I will click on OK. And now our list should be with 40 pixels, but it is much wider. It is wider because it is trying to show all of the text. But if we go here to table properties and we enable this option fixed size, then we will force that width of 40 pixels. So when I click on apply, I would get a list that is exactly 40 pixels wide. And as we see, our list is now totally distorted, so we shouldn't use this option. I will just leave it like this, and that is how we use table properties.